a message in the book of 1 John chapter 4. Today we are going to look at the Old Testament. Why the Bible says, try every spirit, whether they be of God. That is the essence. Try every prophecy, whether they be of God. It doesn't matter if that prophecy is coming, whosoever is coming from. If that prophecy, if that vision is not unto the saving of our soul, or is not unto righteousness, they are not of God. If those prophecy is to make you 10 times worse than the way you are, if it is not saving your soul, they are not of God. Now, let's look at the Old Testament in the book of Job in chapter 4. The servant, after everything has happened to Job, his friend came, and the first person that spoke in verse 4, in chapter 4, in verse 12, he saw a vision. And in that vision, if you read from verse 15, he said, then a spirit passed before my face. The hair of my flesh stood up, and it stood still, but I could not discern the form thereof. An image was before my eye, therefore was silent, and I heard a voice saying. Now if you read down, you see that the vision he saw was to condemn Job, and everything that happened to Job was because of his sin. But you and I know that Job has not committed any sin. It was like a bet before the Lord and the devil, because the devil said to the Lord, is it not because you blessed Job? Take out all these things, you see that Job will curse you. But here is a friend who saw a vision. He saw a vision, not just a vision, he saw a man in his room, to the extent his hair, his body, the bone began to shake. But that vision was not from the Lord. That's why the Bible says, even Satan himself, in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 14, even Satan himself has transformed himself to angel of light. So most of those visions you're seeing are not from God. Try every spirit. As a young man, they gave you accurate prophecy, sir. Compare it with the spirit of the Lord that is in you. If truly that is what the Lord said, a lot of young men has abandoned their parents because of prophecies they think is from God, whereas it's from the devil. A lot of people have made shipwreck of their marriage because of prophecies and vision. They think it's from God, but it's from the devil. Try every spirit. Well, if they be of God. Now, let me shock us. Let me give us the deep in same Old Testament, not in the New Testament. Old Testament, the first king. In chapter 19, there's Elijah, a man of fire. The ministry of Elijah was categorized with raw miracle. Elijah is a man that will say, fill the altar with water. Fill it with water. And he called the God of fire. And the Bible says God licked up both the water and the sacrifice. This is a man who has seen God one-on-one. This is a man that has no beginning. The Bible did not talk about the father and the mother of Elijah. But here is Elijah. Now, in 1 Kings chapter 19, in verse 9, the Lord himself feed Elijah. He feed him. And the Lord himself told him in verse 10, he said, go to the mountain and wait for me, I'm coming. It's a direct instruction from God. So anything that happened on the way, it should be God, not the devil. Now, young preacher, young ministers, you should understand, when the Lord is commissioning you, be careful with all the vision. Be careful with all the revelation you get on the way, because most of them are not from God. Now, before I continue this, here is a young prophet in the Old Testament, and here is an old prophet in the community. This is a young prophet that said that a king, he prophesied, the king hand withered. He made pronunciation, and the king hand withered instantly. A young prophet, and here's an old prophet in that same community. A young prophet that God gave a distinct instruction: don't drink water, don't eat in that land. After he finished performing and he was going, an old prophet came and said, the same God told me I'm an old prophet, come and eat and drink. And the young person said, we are all prophets, let me go back and eat. And immediately finished eating. The Spirit of the Lord rested on that old prophet and he prophesied. The young prophet did not get back to his house. Lion ate him up. Sir, try every spirit, whether they be of God, whether it's coming from Papa A or coming from Papa B. Try every spirit, whether it's coming from General this or General Overseer of this. Try every spirit, whether they be of the Lord. Now, in 1 Kings chapter 19, in verse 11, and he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by. The Lord passed by, and there was a great and strong wind, rent the mountain and break in pieces the rock before the Lord. But the Bible says, but the Lord was not in the wind. There was a wind, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. Sir, try every spirit. These are notable things that if you want to be Elijah, you say, yes, the Lord is here, the Lord is with me, there's no need of me going up again. I have seen the power of the Lord, that you will not come down. But the Bible said the Lord was not in there. Try every spirit. How do we know the spirit that is of the Lord? If the spirit, it is not leading you to Christ, it is not of God. If the spirit is not leading you to righteousness, it is not of God. If the spirit or the prophecy or the vision, it is not leading you to holiness and righteousness, it is not of God. I pray God will help us, young preachers, young ministers. Don't make shipwreck of your ministry because you want to follow apostle this, papa this, evangelist this and this. You're living the calling of the Lord. As a married man, married woman, young people, try every prophecies you hear, try every vision you hear, equate it with the word of the Lord. And if you're born again, equate it with the Spirit of the Lord in you, if truly they are of God. And I pray God will help us so that we truly design the prophecies, the vision that is of the Lord. I pray God will bless us in Jesus' name.